That's what happened.
Here's the song. And we get it up and down.
Isn't that, it worked perfectly for me. Let's share screen. See if they've got you.
Okay, Pam, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. You see my ugly face, or do you not want to?
Can see you.
Okay. First time I've ever done this is for a council meeting.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Virginia City Council Chambers. This is a regularly scheduled City Council meeting. We'll call this meeting to order. Today's date is Tuesday, May 11th, 2021. The time is 5:30 p.m. Pam, would you please take the roll call?
Baraboo,
Present.
Friedlieb,
Here.
Paulson,
Present.
Yondich,
Present.
Johnson,
Here.
Aaronzelli,
Here.
Huffy.
Here. Would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. We'll move to item 4 on the agenda, which is the public forum. There is no one scheduled at this point in time. Is there anyone in the audience that'd like to speak at the council meeting at this time? You're welcome to come forward and do so. Seeing none, before we move to item 5, which is the consent agenda, I want to recognize for those who are listening at home, other people that are attending in the audience today. We have our city administrator, Britt C. Bennis. We have our finance HR director, Sherry Erickson, our attorney, city attorney, Brian Lindsay, our planning and zoning, I call him the director, so it's John. John Sullivan. And then we have gentlemen from representing Carl Anderson, there you are, and Brian Silber, our park rec director, and a couple other individuals in the audience. Hopefully you're here for the planning zoning thing. We'll try to get you up on the agenda a little bit sooner than, so you don't have to wait. But right now we'll go through the consent agenda. The following items will be enacted by one motion unless a councilor or a citizen of the city of Virginia requests that the item be considered separately. Item 5.1 is the approval and correction of the minutes of the regular meeting and the public hearing that were held on April 27th, 2021, and the special meeting that was held on April 13th. The local Board of Appeals held on May 6, 2021. Item 5.2 is the adoption of Finance Resolution Number 21-009, the schedule of bills. Item 5.3 is approve the transient merchant license for Tamberly Eck, doing business as #Tater. Item 5.4, approve the exempt permit application for the Virginia Community Foundation to conduct a raffle and bingo at the MEC November 17th through the 20th, 2021. Item 5.5, approve pay estimate number 11 to Kraus Anderson for the Ewens Field redevelopment in the amount of $335.01. And then item 5.6, approve pay estimate number 11 to Kraus Anderson for the MEC in the amount of $2,854,370.27. These are the consent agenda items that are approved for, looking for adoption today, and I'm looking for council action.
I'll move the consent agenda.
Councilor Johnson moves to approve the consent agenda. Is there support? Support by Councilor Barnzelli. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 6, appearances. We have no one scheduled to appear before the council today. Once again, if the citizen would like to speak at this time, you're welcome to come forward and address the council if you choose to do so. Seeing none, we'll move to item number 7, which is unfinished business. We have no unfinished business. And move to item 8, discussion items. Item 8.1, under the Planning and Zoning Committee meeting that was held on May 3rd, 2021, they are approving, authorizing, and asking us to consider the following variance request from Scott Mary, who's located at 632 3rd Street South. Item 8.1A, approve a 25-foot variance to the required 25-foot rear yard setback in order to construct a living area in an existing accessory structure, which is a detached garage, 0 feet from the rear yard setback, which is the alley. And then item 8.1B, approve a 5-foot side yard variance to the required 5-foot side yard setback, which is the west, to be also 0 feet from the west side yard on 7th Avenue South. Item 8.1C, approve a 4.1-foot side yard variance to the required 5-foot side yard setback to the east to be 0.9 feet from the east side yard. And those are the items being considered for Mr. Mary, located at 632 3rd Street South. These are recommended for approval by Planning and Zoning.
I'll make that motion to approve those variances on behalf of Scott Mary as recommended by the Planning and Zoning Committee.
Thank you. Moved by Councilor Freely. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Councilor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion?
Mayor, this is Charlie Baraboo. I have a discussion item on that.
Councilor Baraboo.
Yeah. The 0 setback from the alley, is that going to be an issue with snow being pushed up against the structure? Is he aware of that?
I believe we'll have Mr. Sullivan to answer that question for you. I think that's been vetted. Mr. Sullivan?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor and Councilor Baraboo. The structure is existing right there, so the only thing he's doing is raising up his garage 6 feet so he can basically have a man cave up on the top. It's living quarters to a degree, but it's not with, water and all that kind of stuff. It's just basically a man cave. But the reason there was a variance needed for this was that it's an existing, non-conforming use right next to the alley, and he just needed a variance to go up.
Okay, that answers my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Baraboo. Thank you, Mr. Sullivan.
Yep.
Councilor Freely?
And if I could, just for the moment, we talk so often about the improvements we'd like to see in throughout town, and Scott Mary is a shining example of a neighbor who has completely restored his property, single-handedly, putting a roof on both the garage and the house, new siding, landscaping, fencing. So he's very deserving of having the opportunity to continue to improve upon his property.
Yeah, and I echo that sentiment too. So seeing that progress in the improvements that you made, Mr. Rary, is a shining example, as Councilor Freely alluded to. So it's been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Mary. Item 8.1C2, I'm sorry, 8.12. Consider the following variance request from Renee Galaski, 209 4th Street South. 2A, approve a 3-foot variance to the required 6-foot high maximum to construct a 6-foot privacy fence on the top of a 3-foot deck with a total of 9 feet in height on the back side of the house.
I'll move approval.
Moved for approval by Counselor Freely, supported by Counselor Johnson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Renee. Item 8.2 is to adopt the resolution to make application and accept funds from the DIRRR Commercial Redevelopment Grant Program for Cane Lakes County. This is a pass-through grant for the IRRR for downtown revitalization.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Beyondich. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Counselor Paulson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.3, adopt a resolution ordering raising of a structure located at 119 6th Street South due to hazardous conditions.
I will move the resolution.
Counselor Johnson moves to approve the resolution. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Counselor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Counselor Paulson.
I didn't realize I had my light on, but I do
sure,
actually
very
have a
good.
question.
Okay.
On that, because there was no response and no attempt to correct the violations, who assumes that cost?
Brian, would you please answer that for Counselor Paulson?
Thank you, Your Honor. Counselor Paulson, because of the process that was undertaken, the ultimate cost will be either paid by the property owner or assessed back against the property.
Thank you very much, Brian. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Counselor Paulson. Thank you, Brian. So it's been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.4, with regret, accept the resignation from Carolyn Deneen from the Human Rights Commission.
Make that motion regretfully.
Moved by Counselor Johnson. Is there support?
I'll support.
Support by Counselor Freely. Further discussion? Could we send her a letter thanking her for her participation on that commission? Thank you. Okay, moved and supported. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.5, adopt the resolution hiring student laborer positions. And do we have any other information to add on to that request? We do this every year, obviously, but we need a resolution to approve those. And has there been any changes, Britt or Sherry, from the previous years, which we've done?
Oh, we were really late hiring last year because of COVID. We didn't know what we were going to do, so we didn't get as early of a start on mowing. But I can tell you that even though the nights have been cold, the grass is really growing, so it would be great to get them solidified and on the staff.
And how many are we hiring?
7.
7, thank you. Counselor Paulson.
I'll move the resolution to hire student labor positions totaling 7.
Thank you. Moved by Counselor Paulson to approve the student labor position, supported by Counselor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.6, which is part of the revised agenda. This is adopt the following resolutions approving a premise permit application to conduct gambling for the Virginia Elks at the following locations. These are pull tabs that they're taking over for an organization that no longer has a gambling manager. So these sites would like to use the gambling manager that's at the Elks Club. So we have to take them individually. So item 8.61, a resolution for gambling at the American Legion Servicemen's Club located at 229 Chestnut Street.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Johnson, supported by
Support.
Counselor Paulson. Further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. 8.62, adopt the resolution for gambling at Tommy's Rainy Lake Saloon, located at 207 Chestnut Street.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor,
Johnson.
I'm sorry, moved by Counselor Johnson, supported
Support.
by Counselor Freely. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed, motion carries. Item 8.3, adopt a resolution for gambling at Popper's Bar located at 120 Chestnut Street, motion by Counselor Beyondich. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Counselor Paulson. Further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed, motion carries. Item 8.64, adopt the resolution for gambling at Polly G's located at 218 Chestnut Street.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Freely and supported by Counselor Paulson. Further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed, motion carries. And finally, adopt a resolution for gambling at Okies Arrowhead Bar located at 412 Chestnut Street. Motion by Counselor Beyondich. Is there support? Support by Counselor Freely. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 9, committee reports. Committee of the Whole meeting that was held on May 4th, 2021. I will turn this portion of our council meeting over to our city administrator, Britt C. Bennis. Britt?
At the Committee of the Whole meeting held on May 4th, 2021, we had a very wonderful presentation from Lisa Redstrom, environmental science teacher at Rockridge School, and a few of her students regarding the cooperative efforts we've had over the last few years for tree planting, water quality, and shoreline restoration along Silver Lake. We've been working on this project every spring since 2016. The class gave a presentation on the selections of trees that they'll be planting at Silver Lake, and it'll be around the week of May 16th. They're actually putting a lot of fruit-bearing trees this year, which will be great to see some different colors around the lake. It was really good to see the students in the class. Mayor Cuffey did offer a donation of $100 from the City of Virginia employees as a challenge to the public to obtain funds to help the school with this project. So if anybody's interested, please contact City Hall, and I can direct you on how to get that money to them. The request was received from Janet Hogus regarding adding an adoptive roadway sign on Borgen Road and Midway. It was moved and supported to refer that request to place signage on Borgen Road for an adopt a road program to the Street and Alley Committee for consideration.
Okay, motion please from the council.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Johnson and supported by Counselor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
It was moved and supported to approve the request from the Dream Machines Car Club to conduct the 2021 Fuzzy Dice Cruise Night, August 20th and 21st, 2021 on Chestnut Street.
So moved. Yay.
Okay, moved by Counselor Beyondich and supported by the Dream Machine Champion of Justice in the American Way, Counselor Barnzelli. Is there any further discussion? A hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
I think it's safe to say we're all pretty excited to see that event back this year after
yeah.
a COVID year last year. Mr. Matt Reed, our engineer of record from SCH, discussed that there's federal funding that will be awarded to the 2023 street improvement project, and the process requires additional memorandums and a lot of paperwork to be completed. SCH has prepared a proposal of professional services agreement to complete the required NEPA document. It was moved and supported to adopt that resolution authorizing entering into a professional services agreement with SCH for the engineering services related to that application for federal and state funds for the 2023 street and infrastructure improvement project.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor
Also,
Johnson,
Mayor,
supported by Counselor,
I'll support.
yep, supported by Counselor Baraboo. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
It was moved and supported to approve the resolution accepting the bid from Northeast Technical Services for the pre-demolition asbestos hazardous waste inspection at 805 Fifth Avenue South for the demolition. We are the pass-through agent for a grant for that project.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Johnson, supported by Counselor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Brian Silver, Park and Recreation Director, reviewed the proposed memorandum of understanding for the YMCA to operate a health and wellness coordinator at the MEC. It was moved and supported to direct staff to rewrite the proposed memorandum of understanding as a professional services agreement and prepare a request for proposals for the MEC facility health and wellness coordinator.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Johnson and supported by,
I'll support.
supported by Counselor Paulson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Tyler Lundeen of the Lundeen Group presented information regarding proposed fee schedules for trade shows and expo pricing. It was moved and supported to approve those proposed pricing for trade shows and expos at the MEC.
So moved.
Moved to approve by Counselor Johnson and supported by Counselor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Counselor Johnson.
Mayor, I mentioned this at the committee of the whole meeting, but I also want to mention it tonight, that we are the body that sets these prices and fees, and citizens that may have concerns about those should be bringing those to the administration and to the counselors. The Lundeens are a hired group of professionals that are at the top of their game and are only doing what we are asking them to do. So I would ask that if there are people that have those concerns, to bring them to us as elected officials who are setting those prices. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Johnson. Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
It was also moved and supported to approve the proposed birthday party and post-game wrap-up coaches packages at the MEC.
So moved.
Moved to approve by Counselor Johnson and supported by Counselor Paulson.
Support.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Eric Wedge from DSGW presented information on the quotes that were received for the fixtures, furnishings, and equipment for the MEC. It was moved and supported to award the office furniture bid package to Range Office Supply in the amount of $23,831.60 and to allow Range Office to find an alternative product for the items not included in the initial bid.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Freelieb and supported by Counselor Paulson.
I'll support for discussion.
Further discussion, Counselor Paulson.
Thank you, Mayor. So is there an actual resolution in our packet? Mine skips from 9.1G right down to 9.1M. So is there a resolution, or are we just approving it because it was a,
We haven't been doing them anything under 25 is usually the
got it?
cutoff.
Okay, thank you
25,000.
for that. I appreciate that clarification. So I'm fine with that. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
It was moved and supported to request additional quotes for fixture for FF&E items C109 and C110 for the MEC.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Johnson for approval. Is there support?
I'll support.
Support by Counselor Beyondich. Further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
It was moved and supported to approve the range office supply quote for the FF&E miscellaneous items in the amount of $6,260.46.
So moved.
Moved for approval by Counselor Friedlieb. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Counselor Johnson. Further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
It was moved and supported to request additional quotes for the admitted items from the miscellaneous package for the FF&E.
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Counselor Johnson, supported by Counselor Paulson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Eric Wedge reported that there was not any pricing received from the local vendor for the event center and arena lounges bid packages. After discussion, it was moved and supported to direct city staff to seek an award for the event center and arena lounges under the state bid pricing and to identify a list of local vendors for the bid package.
So moved.
Move for approval by Counselor Johnson and supported by Counselor Barnzelli. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
It was moved and supported to approve the quote submitted from Fireplace Lounge, or for the Fireplace Lounge and Event Concourse from Firelight Galleries Incorporated in the amount of $28,610.80.
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Counselor Johnson for approval and supported by Counselor Freelieb. Is there any further discussion? Counselor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to thank everybody who's worked so hard on making sure our local businesses have had the opportunity. I know that's been discussed greatly in this chamber and been led by Councilor Paulson as we move forward. So thank you all for your work.
Okay, thank you, Counselor Johnson. Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
It was moved and supported to approve the resolution for the proposal of agent of record for the property and liability insurance for the city of Virginia with the Podpesker Agency.
Move to approve.
Moved for approval by Counselor Paulson and supported by that-
Counselor Bearable.
Counselor Bearable. Thank you. Further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
It was moved and supported to approve the surplus sale bids that were submitted by residents for the surplus sale that we conducted at the end of April.
So moved.
Moved for approval by Counselor Freely. Is there support? Support by Counselor Beyondich. Further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
We received applications for the senior administrative coordinator position. 3 council members shall be on the interview panel. It was moved and supported to appoint Counselor Friedlieb, Counselor Paulson, and Counselor Johnson to that interview panel for the senior administrative coordinator.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Beyondich. Is there support? Support by Counselor Barnzelli. Is there any further discussion? Thank you for volunteering to serve that. It's going to be a daunting task. Further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
It was moved and supported to approve membership in WARN, which is the water wastewater agency response network program, for the wastewater treatment plant.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Johnson. Is there support? Support by Counselor Barnzelli. Is there any further discussion? Counselor Freely.
Are there costs incurred for the membership? Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Freely. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have from that meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Britt. We'll go to item 9.2, which is the Personnel Committee meeting that was held on May 10th, 2021. Personnel Committee members are Counselor Paulson, Counselor Freelieb, and Mayor Cuffey. Item 9.2A, after significant discussion, we approved for consideration for approval at the council meeting the facilities manager's job description with the title change to Building Maintenance Repair Foreman for the MEC with a pay rate of $30.70 an hour in the ASME union, and to modify the current building maintenance repair job title to Building Maintenance Repair Foreman, and that would be Kurt's job. So I would defer to the Personnel Committee members, Councilor Paulson and Councilor Freely, for some additional information and discussion. First, Councilor Paulson.
Thank you, Mayor. I guess before we even have a discussion, one correction, I don't know if needs to be made in our packet under 9.2A. It has the rate of pay as of 3/15/2020, and what was in the our negotiations was the rate of pay as of 1/1/21. So I don't know if that needs to be reflected in that. And then just for the members that were not in attendance, I think we had a really good discussion with MAPE and AFSME, both on both of these positions. This one is the AFSME position. But what we were trying to accomplish is we would like to mirror what goes on in the Public Works Department in terms of building maintenance and repair. So we changed a lot of that language to reflect a mirrored position as well as a mirrored hourly wage. And I guess that's all I'd like to add. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Councilor Paulson. Councilor Freely.
You know, Mr. Silber was the one that first brought forth the facility manager's job description. And since that time, there's been a lot of discussion with regard to that position, including splitting it into more than one position. And so I guess not to put Mr. Silber on the spot, but I would like to hear his take on where we're at with regard to that position that he originally recommended, how it's been modified to where we're at this point in time, and to seek his support for where we're moving in the direction we're going.
I am absolutely thrilled with the job description that we have. The only way I will be more thrilled is when we have the right person filling the position.
Now, one additional, just for the sake of conversation, is that the one thing that is a little bit of concern to me is that one of these people will be under your direct supervision as Park and Rec Director. The other will be under the direct supervision of Public Works. There's a possibility, although I hope remote, when there are priorities that need to be set with regard to events that are going to be held and/or repairs that need to be made, that there could be some conflict with regard to who's going where and when and how. Do you see that, or is that something we need not worry about?
With how we have a teamwork approach to everything in the city, I don't foresee that being an issue.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Freely. Anything more you'd like to add, Brian? I know that we put you on the spot and the staff to crunch this into one position, and it was such an overwhelming task for, we were able to take a step back and take another look at it. And I think if you had indicated earlier, and so did staff, that this is the preferred way moving forward. Is that your take?
Absolutely. I think the addition of these two new positions that we'll be adding to our team will pay great dividends in the services that we're able to provide and the ways that we are able to maintain not only the MEC, but our other park and city buildings.
Thank you, Brian. Any other questions for Brian? Councilor Bearable, any questions?
I don't have any questions. It's split in two positions. That's all I care about.
Okay, thank you very much. So it's been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion about the facilities manager's job description change to building maintenance repair foreman at the MEC? Counselor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. Are we approving the job description and then authorizing you to post them? Are we there yet, or what's our process?
That would be the ideal motion,
Yeah,
Okay.
that'll be the addition to the motion, yes.
because the way that the AFSCME contract reads, we have to post it internally for 7 days. Once we have approval of the job description, authority to post. Ideally, if we got the approval tonight, we would post it tomorrow for the 7 days, and then we could go to the streets after that if nobody takes the job.
Okay, so we can do two motions or one motion that does both? Okay.
Brian, because we can encapsulate that into one motion. Approve the job description and the pay, and then the authorization to post it internally and move forward. Is that all encompassing in one motion? Pam, did you have that? And who made the motion? Okay, looking for a motion.
I will make the motion that we approve the job description and as presented in accordance with the contract and post internally and then externally if needed.
Okay, thank you. Moved. Is there support?
I'll support.
Support by Counselor Paulson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, move to item 9.2B. I had a technical difficulty with a ink in my pen, so. We go to item 9.2B, approve the event program services manager's job description with the changes with the annual salary to be set at $65,500, and this position will be part of the MAPE bargaining unit. And I'll defer to Counselor Paulson and to Counselor Freely to discuss how we arrived at this salary with staff. Okay, well, let's start with you, Britt, and Sherry about that, how we came to an arrival at that particular salary structure.
Did meet with with MAPE yesterday at the Personnel Committee meeting in closed session. They had suggested a salary range. We had quite a bit of discussion about it at the meeting, and we all came out of the meeting with the agreement of this wage of $65,500 annually.
Thank you. And that's commensurate.
We feel that it was.
Yes, thank you. And after significant discussion at personnel, looking at what the range that was discussed at this point in time, this was frankly at a range that was agreeable to all. So looking for a motion on this particular position.
I'll move to approve the position.
Moved by Counselor Paulson for approval. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Counselor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Counselor Johnson?
I would ask that approval also include the posting. The motion.
Yeah, the motion which include the
Does the-
posting of the,
Does the posting need to be internal first?
We work really well with MAPE on these kind of things. MAPE realizes that none of their staff is going to internally post for it, so they usually allow us to dual post.
So you can do internal and external
same
at the
time.
same time? Okay, so that I would amend my motion to reflect that.
okay, so, all right, very good. So that's been moved, and did you get the other motion and the support? It reflects the addition. Okay, thank you. Is there any further discussion? Counselor Paulson?
Mayor, this is Counselor Bear. We'll have a discussion.
Okay, Counselor Baraboo first, then back over to Counselor Paulson. Counselor Baraboo?
Just a quick question. If Sherry's there tonight, Sherry, will this affect our comparable worth with a bump in salary like that?
That's a very good question, Counselor Baraboo. We did talk about that. Sherry could answer that for you.
Counselor and
I'm sorry I
Mayor,
couldn't be there. I had a surgical procedure today.
Go ahead, Sherry.
Mayor, Counselor.
That will most likely depend on who we get in that position, but no, it should not affect us. We're pretty
Thank you,
good.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Counselor Bearable. Counselor Paulson.
Thank you, Mayor. In our conversation with the MAPE Union, we did have a discussion regarding the probationary period. Does that need to be placed within this description as well, or is that within a job offer itself?
That's actually in the contract, but when we do the advertising, we'll probably list it in there just so everybody understands that this has quite a lengthy probationary period.
So
because
does
it is
that
a
need to be included in here? It does not?
No,
Okay,
no.
thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Paulson. So it's been moved and supported.
Can I just clarify?
Is there any further discussion? Yes,
When we
Britt.
say internally post, that means only MAPE members can internally post. Anybody that's not in the MAPE union would have to post externally like any other applicant on the street.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. So it's been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We might as well go to item 9.3, I guess. We did have a special council meeting today at 4:30 in the council chambers, and the special meeting was to discuss the contract negotiations with MAPE. It is the last bargaining unit of the negotiations, and we did have a special meeting, and at that special meeting, we came to an agreement on the bargaining unit contract for the MAPE union. So I would ask, is anybody on the council would like to add any information about that before we move? We do have a resolution in place, and I can read that resolution after any other additional discussion. Councilor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to thank the MAPE Union for their leadership over the last several years. Looking at what the pay increases they took when we asked them to be leaders was helpful. Being the first union to lead when we went to PEEP was beneficial. So I just want to personally thank all of the MAPE leadership as we move forward, and thank them for their continued leadership, not over in the city with the city employees, but as a general unit in the community, reaching beyond our city borders. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Johnson. So the resolution is as follows. It's dated today, May 11, 2021, a resolution approving the contract with the Minnesota Association of Professional Employees, which is MAPE, for the period of January 1, 2021 through December 31st, 2023, whereas the contract for the Minnesota Association of Professional Employees has been negotiated between MAPE and the City Council, and whereas after numerous negotiation sessions, MAPE and the City Council have reached an agreement, now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Virginia approves the Minnesota Association of Professional Employees MAPE agreement for the period from January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2023, subject to the final review of the contract language and approval by MAPE. Is there a motion?
I'll move.
A lot of movement, a lot of support. So let's just pick out Councilor Paulson to move and Councilor Barnzelli to support. Is there any further discussion? Thanks.
Mayor, I'd like to have a little bit of discussion. since
Go ahead,
I was
Councilor
unable to
Bearable.
be there. I was unable to be there today because of my surgical thing. I just didn't get home in time. Will we get a chance to final whole thing before we actually finally approve this? So I haven't seen it yet.
Well, we did have the meeting and
I don't remember seeing a confidential come through on my computer. I'm mainly concerned about where the salaries are going.
okay. So you would like to see this the documents that we approved, that's on the motion on the
Well,
floor?
At least tell me this much, and then I'll probably go along with it. If the salaries aren't unreasonable with what we saw originally in the first part, I'll be okay with it.
Okay, thank you. I think if I may speak on behalf of the council and our staff, no, you are correct, that the salary adjustments that are commensurate and in line with those were settled by the other bargaining units. And there's just a little bit of variation on how that's meted out, but in the end, it's commensurate with the other settlements.
Okay, then I'm okay, Mayor, with that if they're commensurate with the other bargaining units. I just didn't want to have a disparity that was too large for one of the units. So I'm okay, I'll go along with the resolution.
Thank you, Councilor Baraboo. So it has been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing, I'm sorry, Councilor Freelieb.
Yeah, I just want to publicly add to, I echo the sentiments of Counselor Johnson with regard to the leadership shown by the but also by Britt and Sherry and Brian in the way that they communicated this and professionally prepared to allow this to happen in the smooth fashion that it did.
Thank you. Well said. So it's been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, we'll move to item number 10, which is the commission liaison reports. Does any city council have a commission liaison report they'd like to give before the council meeting tonight?
Mayor, I'm not sure if this goes under this or under council reports. It has to do with Rams. Where would you like me to put it?
Well, you could discuss the Rams issue with the retirement of the current Rams director and the advertisement for the others. So go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I was going to make sure that we get information. If anybody has good candidates that they may recommend for Rams. Steve George's return. The letter came out as of the end of June, but he's extended another letter to extend it to July 2nd because it's the end of the pay period and it means a little more money, those extra days for his para-retirement, $50 a month additional. So we're going to agree to do that from our board, which has nothing to do with the city anyway, but we're looking for good candidates to fill in those application requests and resumes to send to Rams. We're trying to get this done before Steve leaves. We've got time frames and everything else all set up for interviews. We're looking at the resumes that come in. We have a committee that will be doing that. And then we'll have final reviews that will be public. So we're going to have this all done hopefully by the first part of June.
Yeah, thank you, Councilor Baraboo. There is an advertisement for our executive position.
Yeah, there's a nice advertisement out there, but I just want to make sure that if there's anybody interested, apply for the position.
Okay, thank you very much, Councilor Baraboo. We'll move to item 11, which is department head reports. Is there any department head that would like to give a report tonight's meeting? Seeing none, we'll move to item number 12, council reports. Is there a city councilor that would like to give a report before I move on with our other correspondence and resolutions and proclamations that we have? Councilor Johnson.
Here, two things. One, I want to let everybody know that it is Foster Care Awareness Month. And I can just say that St. Louis County is in need of foster care placement homes. One of their new programs that we're piloting right now is an emergency placement foster care. So basically what happens is a family such as myself signs up for 2 weeks where if something happens on a weekend, the police department call us directly and say, we need to place a child with you. The child comes in and they have a safe place to stay. If people are interested in doing that kind of foster care, contact St. Louis County. They're working on licensing and some other special things to provide for those very short-term emergency placements. Foster care has brought me 2 amazing children that I get to keep, and it's been a great pleasure to be able to help out several others. So And then connected to that, May is also Mental Health Awareness Month, and I didn't write anything this year because my mental health has been in a place where I just haven't had time. And we have all been through some amazing things in the last year. And I want to make sure everybody gives themselves some credit that it's okay. It's okay to not get everything done. It's okay that you didn't get the dishes done last night. It's okay that you're not making your kids do their homework. All of those things are okay. We are getting through this pandemic, but it's important that we all take care of ourselves first and our mental health, and it's okay sometimes to let some of the little stuff go. So just want to give a shout out to everybody in this room for your support over the last year, both professionally, sitting in this chair, and personally. Mental health is a priority, I think, to this city, and we really try to work hard on making sure folks are safe. So thank you all, and thank you for the opportunity, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Johnson. I just have a couple of things. First is I have a proclamation, and if anybody didn't see the newspaper and the front page news about, how I believe our department within our organization, our city is becoming progressive in many other ways. And as Councilor Johnson indicated, this is Range Mental Health Month. I do have a proclamation here to read, but the collaborative between our EMS system and our law enforcement and Range Mental Health. I sit on the Range Mental Health Board, and I know how hard they work every single day. And now we've come to a collaborative where we're having the three entities come together and help people out with Range Mental Health, and will be responding to calls for service that are not emergency law enforcement related. So there'll be a team approach moving forward to try to address some of the issues of mental health and depression that's permeated throughout our community and throughout this country. So this is a great collaborative that we're having. We as an elected body, as a recommendation from our staff, have moved a position as a community relations officer, in which Lieutenant John Swenson has an office in the mall, and the mental health professional will be attached with Lieutenant Swenson, and also there'll be a mental health professional attached to the fire EMS system as well. So being Range Mental Health Month, this year is also the 60th anniversary of Range Mental Health here in Virginia. So I have a proclamation, and I'm proud to read it, and it says, whereas Range Mental Health Center, RMHC, opened on May 25th, 1961 in Virginia with only 2 employees. Whereas the Community Health Act of 1963, which was signed into law by John F. Kennedy, was a turning point in how people with mental illness were treated. And whereas Range Mental Health Center was the first rural community mental health center in the United States and the first anywhere in Minnesota to provide services developed specifically for persons with serious and persistent mental illness. And whereas Range Mental Health Center was the 16th federally designated community mental health center in the nation and the first in Minnesota. And whereas in 1969, Range Mental Health Center moved into a new facility on the south side of Virginia known today as the William F. Savay Building, or the Main Building. And whereas in 1983, the Range Mental Health Center purchased and remodeled a former steel company building in downtown Virginia and named it after William J. Bell, a pioneer Iron Range missionary social worker. And whereas in 2000, Range Mental Health Center opened the Donovan Frank Building in Virginia and began providing substance abuse disorder services. And whereas in 2008, the Range Mental Health Center acquired the Merritt House and began providing intensive residential treatment services in Virginia. And whereas the Range Mental Health Center continues to provide mental health services to more than 5,000 persons in northern St. Louis County across more than 6,800 square miles. And whereas Range Mental Health Center remains a nonprofit dedicated to providing comprehensive, integrated behavioral health care services to the citizens of Northeast Minnesota, thereby helping people reach and maintain productive and dignified lives. And whereas Range Mental Health Service currently employs 152 persons and continues to expand services and increase staff. And whereas Range Mental Health was awarded a $2 million grant from the Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration in February of 2021 to work toward and apply to become a certified community behavioral health clinic. And whereas over the next 2 years, the Range Mental Health Center will use those grant awarded dollars to increase internal structure, staff, and programming in order to provide a better access to care, care coordination, evidence-based mental health services, and/or substance abuse disorders for services or persons who need and seek care. Whereas May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and whereas the Range Mental Health Center will be celebrating its 60th anniversary on May 25th, 2021. Now therefore be resolved, the Virginia City Council hereby proclaims Tuesday, May 25th, as Mental Health Awareness Day and recognizes Mental Health Awareness Month. Okay, thank you. And then I just want to talk about, just quickly about Police Week, which is May 9th through the 15th. And if you look at any of these news organizations across the media outlets, you see very little advertisements or recognition of Police Week, other than what occurred in the Mesaba Tribune and some of the other local news organizations, which on an annual basis recognize the police officers and list the names of those who serve our community tirelessly. And so really, it's difficult for us to really understand what they do. So the countless hours without sleep for the safety and security of this community can only be fully appreciated by those who serve beside them. But we as an elected body, we as a community, we as a society must recognize the hard work and the sacrifices that police officers make every single day. So there is no proclamation. There is no recognition that's been permeated throughout. So, but we, I think, all realize the importance of law enforcement. And it's not just law enforcement, it's the protective services they provide, compassion, and the community relations they provide, which means a lot to all of us. So for those who are unaware that the Police Week is between May 9th and May 15th, if you see a police officer, give them some recognition. So, thank you. Anything else come before the City Council today? If not, we will stand adjourned to our next council meeting, which is Tuesday, May 25th, 2020, and at 5:30 p.m. here in the City Council chambers. So, yes, sir. Mr. Bidmar, please come forward. And before we adjourn for the state, please come forward, and if you have any questions or comments you want to address the council, please do so. This is Mike Vidmar, and you are with Sarah DeBretto. Okay, thank you. Mike Vidmar and Sarah DeBretto, thank you. What can we do for you today?
I'm sorry.
We can hear you. That's good.
I'll start croaking, yeah. Anyway, the dirt alley, the top, with all the traffic on it, it's pulverized the top down to a powder. If you've ever seen the movie Hidalgo, at times it looks like a Sahara desert with dust going all the way up to the power lines. It's ruining my house, my vehicles. I've talked to the Council of Public Works about it before. About 4 years ago, they put the liquid on it, which was a dust prohibitor, which knocked it down for a couple months. And then 3 years ago, the Public Works Director told me they couldn't afford it. And then last year, or the year before, 2020, kind of escapes me. They were going to do it again, and they said about a month. And then they called me up and said it was going to be on a Thursday. I worked for the county, and I had a business meeting that day. So I called up Director Aho, and said, I'm going to be gone. Would you make sure they do a good job on it? He said, sure. Well, it never got done. I'm not sure if it was that Thursday or this coming Thursday, but a while now.
Okay.
So my request is that I've talked to the neighbors, to the employees for the school district that are next to us, and we would like to see the Fifth Avenue entrance, if it could be blocked off. There's 4 other alleys that all go to the same place. It really would not hamper any vehicles getting to where they want to go. It would allow pedestrians and bicycles and kids to use the area. And right now, there's about 7 orthodontist staff that park there, which is
Right.
fine. That's resident parking. But it's just ruining everything I've got. And in fact, one time we were talking with Bob Cornelius, our neighbor there,
Yes.
and he would even said, well, maybe we should close it, I say there's a parallel alley to it. It's narrower. People drive differently on that than ours is like a drag strip. Even the UPS and Postal, they're going 40 miles an hour. I'm not kidding, 40 miles an hour at least through there. And it's not just the kids, anytime there's dirt, kids like to peel out. So they peel out onto Fifth Street, they peel around the corners. Last year, they ran into Jeff Lynn's brand new Buick right out, and they ran it. Anyway, what we're requesting is if we could try to block the Fifth Street entrance to it, which would allow, parking. And like I said, there's other avenues through traffic, but it would slow it down too. We have a lot of pedestrians, dog walkers, and right now we got a bunch of kids on bicycles and stuff too. And traffic is too fast, the safety thing, and then the dust. This year, like I said, I've been there 13 years. It's getting worse. And we're trying to fix the house up now. Paint, I put siding on it. It's hard to paint when you've got Sahara Desert blowing on you. Last night we scrubbed off the top of our motorhome. Last for a little while with the dust, but I haven't put the conditioner on it because of the dust. Anyway, that's my request. If we could work together somehow,
Okay.
alleviate the problem.
Okay, let me just quickly,
Mayor, this is
Counselor
Baraboo.
Counselor Baraboo, when is your next street and alley meeting?
Yeah, well, I don't have one scheduled now, but Mike, I'm going to guarantee that we'll take a look at that through Mike. I'm back as chairman of Street and Alleys, but there's going to be a whole bunch of work being done. Mill 40 is going to be used as a laydown area for all the construction for 3rd Street and 8th Avenue and stuff. And the utilities are going to be doing water loops in the back of that 6th Avenue alley, so it's going to be torn up. But we'll set up a meeting and you'll be invited and we'll talk about getting something. I expect we may get some extra funding here that we can do something down in that area in the near future. We've got some funding requests out to the federal government and some other places, but I'll guarantee you, because I don't forget when it comes to alley stuff, and Britt will remind me if nothing else. But right now, we're not going to be able to do anything this summer because we have to plan at least a year in advance to do this stuff. Because of funding and the way we have to do the funding for projects. That whole alley area can be a petition project if you want to, and it can get done that way, but that's costly that way. So if you give me an opportunity to set up some meetings here, I've got another one that has to be coming up here shortly anyway, and we'll add that to the agenda if that's okay with you.
Yeah, thank you. What we'll try to do, Mr. Vidmar, is as soon as we can, schedule a street and alley committee meeting and give the committee that's chaired by Councilor Baraboo, and then invite you and Mr. Bretto to the meeting, and then talk about what steps can be taken. I think Councilor Baraboo was talking about renovation and renovation, those kind of things. But if it's based on the construction that's going on, maybe that we can close off that street for the time being and to ensure at least the dust will be settled until we get done. But we'll have a street and alley committee meeting, and we'll try to make sure that we do it as quickly as we can to try to address that issue that you have. Councilor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. I remember going out there with you. And one of the things you mentioned to me too was the ATV traffic that's going past there. And I guess I would make a formal motion to direct staff to look at an immediate fix, maybe putting this, whatever we sprinkle on it and making sure we stay on that this summer. And then having staff make sure we can figure out exactly what is the alley, what is your property, what is city property, because I'm looking on Google Earth right now and it looks like it's a 4-lane highway with a median in there. So I would make a motion to direct our staff to, one, take care of the dust problem for the summer and make sure it's taken care of, and two, do some long-range planning prior to the streets and alley meeting so we have something to actually talk about instead of telling you we'll look at it some more.
I'll support.
Moved by Councilor Johnson, supported by Councilor Freely, and that would all be all-inclusive to try to take immediate action is what the motion says, but at the same time, it'll be addressed by Street and Alley as well. So moved and supported, and if you could leave your telephone number or your address with our city administrator, we'll notify you and try to get something organized based upon the motion on the floor today. So it's been moved and supported.
Mayor, this is Councilor
Is there any
Baraboo.
further discussion? Further discussion? Councilor Baraboo.
Yeah, I have no objection to this motion. We can do that temporary, but I'm looking for a long-term fix there with our street and alley committee and Sir Johnson as part of that committee along with, can't remember now who else, Councilor Barnes Elliott, I believe. So we'll take care of it, okay?
Yep, okay, thank you. I think it's a two-pronged approach, do something immediately and then look at the long-term fix as well. So it has been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Leave your number, Mr. Vidmar, Mr. Brito, with our, you have it already, so we're good to go. So we'll make sure we get in contact with you. Thanks for coming to the council meeting. I know this has been frustrating for you, so hopefully we can get this somehow resolved sooner than later. Okay, thank you very much for coming in. Okay, so we've concluded our business for today. I see there are two other, there's a couple in the back room. Did you have anything that you'd like to add? Did you have anything to address the council? Because we're getting ready to adjourn for the evening. So if you'd like to address the council, please come forward. Do you have anything that you would like to bring up or? No? Very good. Oh. Well, our council meetings start at 5:30 now. So just to give you an idea. Well, we're going to have to change that. We're done. You know, and so we will. And once again, on behalf of all of us, I want to welcome you back to Virginia, Minnesota. Good to have you back. So, okay, thank you very much. So no other business to come before the council today. We will stand adjourned. Thank you.